This week, Apple announced the discontinuation of the iPod Touch, and that means that there's no more iPods, folks. Yeah, it marks the end of an era. A little bit sad to think about it, but wow, what a great run for iPod. Not long after the announcement, Apple stores and Apple's online stores began to sell out of the iPod Touch. Apple said it would be available while supplies last. If you're an iPod Touch fan, you might want to start looking. There seems to be some still available from third party vendors and retailers. But yeah, they're going to be harder and harder to get your hands on. A collector's item at this point. I have a few iPods floating around. I think I have an original iPod Photo, 40 gigabyte one. Unfortunately, my original iPod from 2001, the Firewire one, died, and I sold it for parts. Yeah, something that I regret even to this day. Sold it for parts on eBay. Got a pretty good price for it, but yeah, I actually wish I had that iPod back. But my iPods still work. I think I have a couple nanos floating around, a shuffle here and there. Yeah, but no more iPod. Greg Joswiak said the spirit of the iPod lives on in Apple Music integrated products like the iPhone, the Apple Watch, HomePod Mini, and across the Mac, iPad, and Apple TV. I guess also technically in your car with CarPlay, but it's still not the same. It's really hard to believe that the first iPod came out almost 21 years ago in October of 2001, and changed the world. It really, really did. It made an impact. If you were around back then and using MP3 players, you remember paying a lot of money for something that held what amounted to one CD's worth, maybe, of MP3s. You got it, maybe about 8 songs. There was the creative jukebox, is that what it was called? The one that actually did have a laptop hard drive in it, and that actually had a good amount of storage. But outside of that, and it was huge, about the size of a CD, a portable CD player at the time. But outside of that, you really didn't have much. And then Apple came in with 1,000 songs in your pocket. I remember that announcement from Steve Jobs. The first iPod Touch was actually released in 2007, so a little bit newer there. And the current version of the iPod Touch with a home button, no Touch ID, a 4-inch screen, and Apple's A10 Fusion chip. Yeah, that thing has an A10 in it. We're on A15 now, so several generations old, and that came out in 2019, and Apple really hasn't updated it since. So I would say it's not too surprising. I think we saw the writing on the wall. The iPod was eventually going to go away. Most people using their iPhones and other products at this point. But I know there's a lot of fans out there, so I'd be curious to hear from you. I know we have people in our community that use iPod Touches to this day. They're not going to go away in terms of functionality. I would imagine Apple's going to support them for a long, long time. As a matter of fact, like I said, I can still plug in my Nano. I think I can still plug in that iPod Photo. Haven't tried it in a while, but I think about a year ago I was able to plug it in and still use it with my Mac. So still supported. You'll still be able to load your songs and those sorts of things on it, but it'll be a little bit more difficult, I would imagine, as we move forward, right? It's going to be one of those legacy products, and you won't see them around too much outside of probably museums going forward. But again, it has a great history. And so, a little bit of sadness in our hearts. We say goodbye to the iPod. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your iPod stories. Let's share some of those. I have a few. I'll try to think back on different moments I had with various iPods. I remember going to the beach with the first Nano that had a video camera and testing out the video cameras. I think that video probably still is somewhere up on my YouTube channel, comparing the video from the iPod Nano to the iPhone. So check that out if you get a chance. And again, please share your iPod stories, maccast@gmail.com.